everyone, it's been a while, and if it looks like I've hardly slept for a couple of weeks, it's probably because I haven't. Welcome back to the tennis vlog for the first time in a month or something ridiculous. I'll give you a brief update of kind of how things have been going over the past few weeks and what to look for on the channel going forward before we move on to our Wimbledon Q&A session, because we are in the midst of Wimbledon, as I'm sure you are aware. So last vlog that went up was the French Open semi-finals preview, I believe. June I spent a lot of time at tennis tournaments. I was at the Aegon Open Nottingham, then I was at the Aegon Classic in Birmingham just for the semi-finals day, as I'd been away the previous week, and then last week, which feels like ages ago now, I was at the Boodles, and that was my first time there. So during each of those weeks I did take like random videos that I planned to put together into vlogs, although not so much at the Boodles because I was on the official media team there, but I'm still planning on putting together some form of vlog on those visits. After the Wimbledon fortnight we will be going back to the regular roundup and preview videos at the beginning of each week, but not doing that during Wimbledon because everything's kind of madness during a slam, and we did something a bit different for the French Open. So next week I am planning on doing some preview and predictions per round, like I did for Paris, because you seem to like them. For now, I asked you to send me some questions because it is Wimbledon, that wonderful time of year when every other Brit seems to become a tennis expert. So thank you to everyone who sent me questions. I'm not sure how people usually do this, whether they kind of plan their response beforehand. Generally, I'm just going to answer as I go along. Okay, so the first question is, why do you think Nishikori struggles so much, especially physically and injury-wise, on the grass at Wimbledon? Now, for those who don't know who Kei Nishikori is, he is a very talented Japanese player, has big wins over a lot of the top players. He's made a Grand Slam final at the US Open in 2014, but he's known for not achieving as much as he could have done due to being injured quite a lot. It's not just Wimbledon when Nishikori struggles with this, but he was injured here last season, and I'm no doctor, but grass is the fastest surface. You have to keep low, you have to be really quick. It's very, very stop-start, and that is going to have a bad effect on any player's joints, really, if you're playing a lot of grass court matches. Just the whole keeping a low centre of gravity and that kind of thing. So it's the same for other players as well as just Nishikori, but some players just aren't built to deal with the sport as much as others. I remember Tony Nadal, Rafael Nadal's uncle, saying that Roger Federer was born to play tennis and he was born with a body for tennis. Rafa, meanwhile, has endured knee injuries, back injuries, just tons of stuff in comparison to Roger, because he has a more gritty style of play, and it's just harder for certain players. It doesn't mean they're not talented, it's just that their body isn't built as well to deal with the physicality of the game, and Nishikori is apparently one of those players. Next question. Who is your dark horse for Wimbledon this year, both for men's and women's? As I film, Wimbledon is going on right now, we are starting the third round, so it's kind of cheating for me to pick a dark horse at this point. I picked two dark horses in a very rushed predictions challenge thing for one of my friends' websites. I think I gave it like half an hour, and I picked two dark horses who went out in round one. I picked Ashley Barty for the women because I thought that if she could beat Elina Svitolina, who was the number 4 seed, then the draw was really right for her to go deep, and she really did push Svitolina. There were two really tight sets, but she just didn't come away with it. So I don't regret picking Barty, because she could have done really well. It was just a risk that failed. On the men's side, I picked Jordan Thompson. There's kind of an Aussie bias going on here. I had like 2 minutes and I was like, I need to pick a dark horse, and there he is in an opportune looking section of the draw if he can get past Albert Ramos Vinolas, and I think, oh, he had a good win against Murray, he's in decent form, why not Tomo? And he goes out first round. I should have known, really, because people really struggle to back up big wins, so it was kind of normal that he should go out quite early at Wimbledon. Next question, do you think more top singles players in ATP and WTA should play doubles at the slams? Interesting question. My older brother isn't a massive tennis fan at all, but he's constantly saying how much better doubles is to watch than singles, and I think it kind of is more interesting for the casual observer because there's constant action. A player being at the net like all the time makes for more variety, there's more lobs, more volleys, it's faster paced, and you still get the best of 5 sets for the men, it's slams, which makes it exciting. So I think doubles is a great discipline. I also think that there are several reasons why it's not valued like singles is. In doubles there are less rounds, but a key thing is as well, there aren't a lot of consistent pairings. So in singles, there is always going to be, you can't swap who you are. It's always going to be Rafael Nadal or Novak Djokovic or whoever you want. It's always going to be them. Whereas in doubles, you can kind of switch around well, not kind of, you can switch around partners, and then someone might win Grand Slam titles with several different people. So I think that people prefer something that's constant. So there are people who are fans of players pretty much as opposed to tennis. So Roger Federer, for example, has like a mass following, and there are people who are fans of Roger Federer as opposed to tennis. So they put all the energy in and they're talking about him all the time. And in doubles, maybe you don't have that as much. So you have some consistent pairings, like Nicolas Mahut and Pierre-Hugues Herbert, who are defending the Wimbledon title. They are a great example because they are decent singles players, but yet they are committed to doubles, and they don't just play doubles at the slams, they play it at other tournaments as well. So they are good for the sport. The Bryan brothers aren't doing as well now as they did, but they were kind of the face of doubles, and they only played doubles, and their dominance, I think, was really good for it because it drew attention to it. And when you have top players coming in just for slams and playing in it, it's good because then their fans are more interested in it, but they're not dedicated to it. So for example, the Williams sisters are great because they won Wimbledon last year and they are fairly consistent playing at the slams when they can. But then you might have a top player randomly wants to play in the doubles, and then they do really well in the singles and they pull out of the doubles to concentrate on that. And top players going in from singles to doubles kind of takes up spaces that people who are more serious about doubles, maybe they would want to qualify for the draw and they're not able to because wildcards or places have been given to singles players who just want to play at a slam for a bit longer and therefore have gone into the doubles as practice for singles. So do I think more top players should play in the doubles? Not really, to be honest. I think that you should have committed doubles players, whether or not they play singles as well, as long as they're committed to doubles, then it's fine. And I think that's what will help grow interest in that side of tennis. I hope I've answered the question because I feel like I was really rambling there. New question, should players be limited as to how many times they can leave the court during a match? Now I had to Google to actually see the rules on this. Apparently You can leave the match for a toilet break once in a best of 3 set match and twice in a best of 5 set match. This is the ATP rules. And your break can only come after a set has just finished and you're waiting for the next one to begin. So they are limited. Do I think they should be? Yes, I think, because then if you're losing or if you're just not feeling in a good way, you can disappear off as many times as you want and disrupt the match and disrupt your opponent's rhythm. I don't have a problem with going off like a couple of times. You can't stop players from leaving the court at the appropriate time. I have a problem with when it becomes kind of tactical and players are taking like 10 minutes to use the bathroom. Yeah, I mean, there is a limit on it and I think it's pretty fair. Okay, very timely and relevant one. What is your opinion on players who know they are injured but still enter the big events such as Wimbledon? I can't blame them. You get £35,000 for losing in the first round of Wimbledon singles. So that's more than some people earn in a year. So I think really you are a very kind-hearted person if you pull out and let someone else take that money. Also, it's a Grand Slam tournament. So let's use, for example, Nick Kyrgios, who knew he was injured coming into Wimbledon, but it's his favourite tournament. It's a shot at a massive title, whether he's injured or not. You don't know if the injury is going to clear up a bit further into the event. Kyrgios himself said that if he was playing a different opponent in the first round, he thought he might have had a chance of getting through. As it happened, he drew Pierre-Hugues Herbert, who is a really tough first round opponent, and he retired at 2-0 down because he just knew there was no way he was winning that match. So I understand the thought process of entering the draw either for money or for the opportunity at competing in one of the biggest events in the world. And it is tough, but I don't have a real problem with players who are injured doing it. If they can't move, then that's another story. But if they think they can give it a go, then why not walk out there? And at the end of the day, these players have the ranking that gets them directly into the main draw. Yes, it's hard on those who could get in and have a shot in their place, but they haven't earned enough ranking points to get directly into the main draw. So it's all about earning your spot and then doing what you can with it. So yes, I find it hard to criticise overly the players who enter a Grand Slam main draw knowing that physically they aren't 100% there. Another question, do you think Djokovic is finally starting to recover? Everyone must know about Novak Djokovic, who was insanely dominant for a couple of seasons, won the French Open for the first time last year, and since then he's just been in pretty dire form given his high standards. But after this year's French Open, moving on to grass, decided to play an official pre-Wimbledon event for the first time in Eastbourne, and he went to the title there last week. Honestly, I haven't seen as much of Djokovic on the grass as I would like at all. I was at a different tournament to him last week. Haven't really caught much of him at Wimbledon in the opening stages. However, the first round retirements from Martin Klizan definitely helped him, and then in his last round he thrashed Adam Pavlacek. So Djokovic definitely looks in a better place than he was on clay. I think that it will take him facing a top player to prove whether he's really back. Maybe facing Federer in the semi-finals is what it will take, see how he performs against him there, because there were times on the clay where he looked to have returned to form, like when he thrashed Dominic Thiem in Rome, but then he went straight on to lose to Alexander Zverev. So it's been a case of taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But yes, he seems to be doing well at Wimbledon, and we'll just have to wait for a clash with the top player to assess truly where Djokovic is at. But he seems comfortable, he seems relaxed, has a good partnership going on with Andre Agassi, so we'll see. What will be the biggest challenge for Roger Federer if he is to win Wimbledon? Now, originally I said this would be his mentality and dealing with nerves. After taking a long break last season, Federer came back to tour with no pressure on himself in January, no expectations, and went all the way to the Australian Open title for his first major title in over 4 years. So it shows that when he's not putting any pressure on himself, that's when he produces his best tennis. Then he goes and skips the clay court season in order to be prepared for the grass, basically christening himself Wimbledon favourite after winning all the big titles at the start of the year. So I thought that might trouble Federer, but he admitted to nerves in his last match and still won it in straight sets. So I think, and I've written about this yesterday, I'll put the link in the description, I think the speed of the court might not help him in later rounds. Grass has got considerably slower over the years, and Federer's slick game really excels when the surface is as fast as possible, but Jelena Ostapenko went as far as to say that the grass at Wimbledon is playing slower than the clay in Paris. So if he was to come up against Djokovic, for example, Federer might find it difficult that he's having to engage in longer rallies, that might make him nervous and frustrated. So if anything was to really challenge Federer at Wimbledon, I think it might be the court conditions. Next question, do you think Johanna Konta has a chance of winning this tournament? Konta is the highest ranked British female player in the competition, ranked inside the top 10, into the 3rd round, and at the time of filming she's still in contention. Might not be by the time I get it uploaded, but for now she's okay. Prior to the tournament, of course, Konta has a chance at victory. Serena's not here, the tour is pretty unstable, Ostapenko won the French Open ranked world number 47, so to say she doesn't have a chance would be ridiculous. Is she a favourite for the title? I don't think so, because she has made a Grand Slam semi, but she has the home pressure of Wimbledon to contend with, she's not the sharpest player, she is capable of good wins, but she's just not the most lethal player, not the most intimidating player. She has a very simplistic game, but she has good focus and she really feels the court well. What has made me think Konta has more of a chance at the title than I first thought is her win over Donna Vekic in round 2, which she won 10-8 in the 3rd set. She was down on serve a number of times in that last set, but still came through to win it despite the crowd roaring and the tension being really high and so much pressure. And I don't think I expected her to deal with the pressure that well. So definitely Konta has a shot at the title, especially now Petra Kvitova and Karolina Pliskova, some of the leading contenders, have fallen. And final question, interested to know whether you think Wimbledon being moved back recently has helped the top players with more grass court preparation. Keep this one short, not really. Obviously you had Djokovic playing Eastbourne the week before Wimbledon. The grass court season a couple of years back was increased by a week because it was tiny as it was, but you still have some players not playing any warm-up tournaments for the event, like Serena and Venus are the key examples. Nadal this year only played an exhibition event in Hurlingham the week before. Murray only plays the one event at Queen's Club. So for the very top players, I don't think it makes that much of a difference. I also think if they have the experience on grass, then however much practice they get beforehand, they're going to come to Wimbledon and warm themselves into playing on it because that's what they've had to do for so many years. The transition from clay to grass as a quick turnaround is really difficult because it's the slowest surface to the fastest. However, as long as you're getting practice in that's not competitive, I think you'll be okay. Serena and Venus prepare for the grass by playing on hard courts, so it can really be done anywhere. If you're used to the surface, which the top players are, I don't think in general they need that much warm-up. So I would say that it hasn't particularly helped them, but it hasn't hindered them either. So that took way longer than expected. I need to respect this because everything takes way longer than it should. But thank you for watching and thank you for your questions, and hopefully we'll be doing more Q&As in the future. Hope you're enjoying Wimbledon. Let me know your thoughts on the fortnight so far, and do check out my updates at my website, the Tennis Journal, that I have been doing throughout the first week, just roundups at the end of every day. And yeah, next time I'll see you will be next week, hopefully, for some preview and predictions videos because I love predicting so much. No, I don't. So thank you for your patience in waiting for new uploads, and thank you to everyone who has not unsubscribed from the channel in my absence. If you haven't subscribed yet, then please do, and you can be alerted when new content goes up. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.